Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 1015. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
We just watched, Erica and I watched the movie Strange Days.
Ah, yes. What'd you think of it?
Oh, it was terrible.
How dare you?
Just an ugly movie. But
Excuse me, no movie with Angela Bassett at age 30 is ugly. That's just a rule.
I see. I knew you were going to do this. So just there's your platform.
Of course.
Take it. Two things. First off,
and Voldemort. Don't forget Voldemort.
We didn't realize that the sample from Right Here, Right Now by Fatboy Slim comes directly from that movie. But secondly, it's made in 1995, and it was like predicting 1999, and they thought that everyone was going to call it 2K. Hey, man, 2K. Happy 2K. Like, we never called it that, obviously. But maybe we should just...
2K Sports sure as heck did.
Yeah, we should revert it to like, hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 1K15.
No, thank you. Absolutely not. And don't do that.
1995,
never
y'all.
Ever do that again.
So how can it be ugly if it's shot
now.
in the 90s? Because shot in the 90s movies look inherently better by Fiat
because they're on
than ones now.
Yeah, even by the Italian car Fiat. Anyway, welcome to RFS 1K15.
I'm out.
Yep. I didn't do the hand thing.
That's just it's icing on the cake of crap.
95, baby.
Episode MXV has been
okay, that's enough.
We're not doing that because Roman's already did podcasts.
Listen, you got me in a Dancing Queen t-shirt.
We'll get to that.
Anyway, big congratulations to Austria winning Eurovision.
Which you watched a little bit of.
I did not.
We'll get into a tiny bit of that. Congratulations
just put my bona fides out there.
To Crystal Palace for not only winning their first FA Cup, apparently, and first major trophy, but also doing it in regulation time, thus meaning that Doctor Who could broadcast on BBC One.
And beating Man City.
And what's wrong? Man City used to be the whipping boy to Man U, and then all of a sudden, didn't some oil baron
2 points
from
away
the
from
Middle
relegation
East
this year right now.
Are they really?
None of that means anything to me. But Crystal Palace is a cool name and always has been. It sounds very important.
Next time you go to London, you should go to Crystal Palace.
It also sounds like a notorious like meth den or something like that. You know, like
it does a little bit. Yeah. It sounds classy and yet a meth den.
That's the one in East London. That's Crystal Meth Palace.
All the aristocrats who are down on their luck go to Crystal Palace for a hit.
Yeah.
Let's go back to dabbing.
Let's go.
No, I never.
15,
that's not.
baby.
That wasn't for real.
That's not dabbing. Anyway, as you all know, listeners to this podcast here know, this episode has been looming on the horizon because it's Eurovision, because there's music in it for Warren and I for, I'm going to say weeks, but let's face it, decades.
Yeah, as long as we knew this thing existed, we were like, Eurovision, oh god.
The possibility of such a thing. So we were trepidatious, let's say, going in. Chris here, the third member of our crew, is a diehard Eurovisionist.
And an Eurovision enjoyer.
And a Euro revisionist, too.
Euro revisionist as well.
Bring back the War of the Roses. I said what I said.
Do you ever do like retro Eurovisions, like pre-1956, where like what would have won Eurovision in 1953 or something like that? Just look at all the chart-topping countries.
Well, given it started in 1956, I'm pretty sure I can't go back.
Some guy with a ukulele.
But no, see what I mean? What if we judged... Notice, by the way, that I knew what year Eurovision started, all right? I did research for this, all right?
I didn't search. So I'm proud of that. I'm equally proud of not doing research.
Chris, I want to hear your thoughts first. Being a Doctor Who episode that's mostly set in a space Eurovision setting, what are your initial thoughts of this Doctor Who episode, the Eurovision Space Contest?
The Interstellar Song Contest.
That's the Interstellar.
What are my initial thoughts?
Yep.
Tell
us.
I can only start off with the same thing I've said for darn near every episode this series.
All right.
I've watched it twice. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I dislike it. But initial thoughts were I had thought that there's at least a possibility there. The song contest portion of things could have been a much more diminished aspect of the storyline. Possibly even something that, could have been over and done with once the cold open was out of the way. But no, it wasn't. It persisted longer, and my biggest fear was
rash.
My biggest fear was the production and the producers not I don't want to say deference, not paying deference, but just giving Eurovision its due as a big thing. And I don't think they delivered on that.
Ooh.
I have a similar thought, but in a different direction.
Because RTD in whatever Unleashed or whatever is talking about how he wanted the songs to be of a Eurovision style, whatever, and then so he let Marie Gold out on it.
Thoughts on that too?
Yeah,
we got Dugadoo. What can I say?
Which is already beloved.
I'm gonna say when Dugadoo came on,
which Cat wants for a ringtone.
Well, listen, when Dugadoo came on, here's. I thought that Dugadoo was a real thing, like maybe some CBBC thing, because it was so different and weird and memorable.
Well, it's kind of like what does the Fox thing sing or whatever that, something like that, yeah.
Compared to the other songs on there, so I saw, that must be a real thing, but apparently it wasn't. It was all in Murray Gold's head. So he is capable of coming up with nonsense that's good, as opposed to nonsense that we got.
Well, okay.
Well, I mean, even for the main guest star Cora, her song about big feet, like,
oh God, oh man,
and then you get RTD in the making of what Unleashed, talking about, I've been going around for the last few weeks to sing big feet. Like, okay, I mean, you guys are the ones making this. I just got to sit there and watch it. I'm not putting in the work that you are. But
I didn't like that song. They had in the behind the scenes. They had more of Liz Lizardine and her song, and I'm glad that we didn't hear more of that in the actual.
She's a good singer. I'll give her that.
We got enough of that when she was last on the show. Thank you.
She was the Goblin singer.
Yeah.
Let's play the same one. I can't remember her name right now, but yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a middling initial response from Chris. Warren, let's go to Nul Point. Is that a thing? Did I do it right? I don't know
what that means, but sure, yeah.
Because they only give it. I don't understand how the voting works. Maybe I'll ask you later. Warren, what is your initial thoughts on this episode that we were dreading?
Surprisingly, I was watching it and I'm like, you know what? I don't mind this, and I have specific reasons to me as to why I don't mind it. Sort of the same thing Chris said, except in the opposite direction. Right. There was less singing than I thought there would be, and I was like, okay, this is just fine. The songs weren't great, except the last one at the end, which was sort of germane to what they were talking about. It was pretty good, and it made sense in the story. But the rest of them, I just kind of disassociated. Like I actually turned down the sound. I'm like, I'm not listening to this crap. And then I turned it back up because they're actually doing story stuff. The song was in the background. They're doing story stuff. I'm like, okay, this is good. They got all this Die Hardy stuff happening while the song's in the background. I'm totally fine with this. And just the kind of the general fun vibe of it kind of roped me in, and I just kind of ignored the Eurovision parts of it, and there was less than I thought there'd be, which was a big relief, which I know is not why most people are tuning into this, but for me, I can only speak for me, I was like, okay, there's less of the Eurovision crap, which I do not care about, and more of the fun parts of Eurovision. Yeah. So I loved... Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say it's a setting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not the story.
It's as good as I'm going to get out of this. And I love Gary and Mike, and especially when Mike doesn't care about Eurovision. I'm like, this guy, he understands me. We get each other, me and him, right? Plus, just I thought that one of my favorite parts of the whole show is where Shooty, first of all, deliberately pays tribute to Fort Doomsday with the confetti cannon.
Right. In obvious homage. An obvious homage.
Yeah. And then he comes in, he's about to make a point and falls over backwards. I'm like, okay, that's great. That is really funny. I love that. So all that kind of shenanigans and tomfoolery. And I've seen people, and it's a fair comparison, say, well, like in Kerblam, you got this guy who's like from this oppressed people, and you're just kind of going, no, the people in charge are better. And I'm like, okay, that's fair, but also... with all the razzmatazz and ding dong happening here, I'm not really paying attention to it. So, The one part I did roll my eyes at, surprisingly, is when the bi-generation and Ronnie thing happened. and the thing is, like, and now I'm fine with it, just like I was with the original bi-generation. I'm like, yeah, whatever. What's what we're getting. But when it happened, I was like, oh, come on, really? All this other stuff, mysteriously, I was able to put up with. And then the Ronnie thing, I'm like, oh, no, this is a bridge too far, sir. A bridge too far.
As soon as it happened in the giggle, you know that the next time
of course,
Time Lord, it's going to happen.
I'm going to make my usual prediction that the only reason you have two-time ladies, I guess, is that you can bring back Tennant for 5 minutes in the finale, which maybe that's not going to happen, but it seems like the kind of thing that might happen.
Don't do that. Come on.
Maybe he's the part of the Holy Trinity.
I'm already bracing for impact here when it comes to an RTD finale.
Exactly.
Don't throw this other. So you know what? Yeah.
Surprisingly, I didn't mind this, actually. I mean, I wouldn't say it's my favorite. It did what it said it would do, and it did it in a way that didn't annoy me as much as I thought it would.
Yeah.
The first time I watched it, our subwoofer was like glitching in and out all day, and it was starting to happen earlier on in the episode. And I thought, instead of pausing it, I'm just going to wait for the first song so I could go and unplug the thing and turn it back on again. So that's what I did during the first song, was fix the subwoofer to give you an indication of where my mind was going into this thing. Let's get this over with, and I'll fix the subwoofer. Yes, Warren.
One more thing about the songs. Juno Dawson wrote them, and so they're that much better. Like, I had no problem with
Murray Gold wrote them. Juno Dawson helped.
Oh, I thought she did the lyrics. Well, as opposed to RTD doing the lyrics, definitely a step up.
RTD was completely hands off.
Okay, good. So that's the main thing. RTD being hands off.
Yeah.
So Murray Gold's musical contributions don't bother anywhere near as much as the lyrics of RTD, which are just bad. Nobody will tell him that.
As we got to 35 minutes left in the episode, and Kid got taken away, and I thought, oh no, there's like 15 minutes left.
I also checked that. I'm like, well, what's
is this for all the songs?
Lot earlier than usual,
happen?
as Homer would say.
I know. And I just thought, oh no, this is where the songs are going to happen. And I thought whatever the
You're
song,
partially right.
The song for Helia was like, oh God.
It was fine.
It was short.
At least it was short, but it was just an unmemorable song. Thankfully, the song wasn't in English, so we didn't have to critique the lyrics.
It was the least bad one.
I think we'll get into more as time goes on, I'm sure. But I think at the end of the day, this one is going to be like Fugitive of the Jadoon, where you remember the big reveals, and the rest of it is like, oh, what happened to that story?
Yeah. Although Fugitive of Jadoon is better for
that's true
as a story, a general story goes.
Yeah, it's tough to it's. I mean, I rolled my eyes severely. I had to stay up for an hour after I first watched this because
cleansing.
The reveal was so cringe.
The Ronnie one, you mean, not the Susan one?
Let's face it, not the Susan one. Let's face it. That ending is. Anyway, I'll get into that. But first, I want to play something. I want to play.
We'll focus some attention there.
I want to play a clip right now. So back when Archie Panjabi was her casting was announced on Doctor Who. Archie Panjabi, famous for Bend It Like Beckham, Good Wife, all those sort of things. In September, was it, Chris? You said September 22nd.
September 22nd.
Our episode of 2024. I'm going to play about a minute and a half clip here of us discussing the casting, because once she was cast, they never said. She said she was going to be a villain, and then we never heard from anything. And as the weeks came on in this season 2, we never heard anything. So here is our discussion about Archie Panjabi's casting on Radio Free Skaro, number 979, released September 22nd, 2024. Here it is. We'll leave it with that because Archie Panjabi is set to play a Doctor Who villain in season 2. So Archie Panjabi, who has been in many different shows, she was in The Good Wife over on this side of the Atlantic, but has been in like Bend It Like Beckham. She played the breakout role in Bend It Like Beckham. I didn't know that. Snowpiercer, the show Snowpiercer, The Fall.
Shot in Vancouver.
Shetland.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, so she's been in a bunch of stuff, and she is going to play a villain in season 2. So who she'll play? Who knows? Ronnie, obviously. It's obviously the Ronnie.
Susan.
Or
Clearly
Susan.
And Susan at the same time.
What if
Susan was Mrs. Flood?
Susan is the Ronnie.
Then who is Mrs. Flood?
My fan theories have been completely scrambled by this.
You got to pick. The Ronnie's going to be someone, either Mrs. Flood or Archie Punjabi's character. Which is it going to be?
So which is the dumber of the two? The right-wing cinematic universe that you have to follow to understand what the hell Trump's talking about at a debate, or these idiotic theories that we all come up with? I guess the more harmless one is obviously Star Wars, Doctor Who stuff.
Yeah, I will take this 100%. No idea who she's playing, but she's all of her stuff's already in the can anyway, so it's like speculate away. It ain't gonna change anything unless they go back and redub every time they say her actual character's name with the Ronnie instead.
The Ronnie.
Yep.
Bad redubbing.
Exactly, Mr. Black.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So yeah, we'll see who that is in the months to come. There we go. There it is. Obviously, us and only us got it.
Yes,
bang
only us.
Then we mentioned Susan and the Ronnie and Mrs. Flood all in the same episode back in September.
We're mostly right.
Yeah. I gasped. I gasped when Susan came on. I thought that
was kind of cool.
That got me. That was kind of cool.
I hope there's more Susan, not just a little bit more. Like he meets her in person would be nice.
Well, let's face it, he's gonna.
Maybe.
Yeah. But when the reveal happened, I rolled my eyes and I stayed up for an hour cleansing my soul because I thought.
How did you cleanse your soul?
Did you watch Time of the Ronnie?
I literally watched. No, I watched old hockey and anything other than Doctor Who. I didn't want to see anything like that. I don't want to have that be the last vision in my head going to bed. I've kind of gotten over it now. But once again, RTD is great at. When I say great. He loves doing reveals to people who don't have any vestige in the reveal.
Yeah, she's in two different stories, and probably some big finish.
Well,
stuff.
She's regenerating and have this big thing, but she's not regenerating to anyone in the story. She's not performing to the by-generating story. It's that, like, I wanted them to cut back to Mike and Gary. He goes, "I am the Ronnie," and he goes, "Who the F's that?" Because they don't know.
Battle has begun. Even I had to go, is that Kate O'Mara? I don't remember.
No, it's not Kate O'Mara. She never said, oh, God.
And go so far as to even ask Mike and Gary, has the doctor left?
Yeah.
Now it's safe to do this.
Oh.
Like, okay, so if she was dying because of her brainstem or whatever.
Right.
And had to regenerate. Does she could wait till the doctor left?
I don't know.
She couldn't do it. If he was around, is she able to delay that?
I don't know. It's best to not think about it. Like a lot of things with Doctor Who right now. Here, I'm gonna do my best not to spoil Andor season 2. But the regrettable thing that Doctor Who has landed here. I don't watch many shows, but I'm watching The Last of Us season 2, which I'm greatly enjoying. I watch and work for the Edmonton Oilers during their another playoff run. Also very exciting. And Andor Season 2 was possibly the greatest season of television I've ever seen since Andor Season 1. And this has been happening concurrently with Doctor Who. And I remember when Season 1 of Andor ended. And, because they made Season 1, broadcast it, then shot Season 2. And I thought, that was really great. I'm worried in some slight way that they'll think, oh, all the fans are thinking this, let's put that into season 2. They stuck to their guns in Andor season 2. Everyone thought that, Luthen's going to be a Jedi. I just know it because he's got that ship with the lasers on the wings and they spin around and it was a cool ship and everything. And everyone's just assuming that, this is going to be this person, that's going to be that person, there's going to be reference and everything else. And this, be vague, it did none of that. It stuck to its story and was perfect. Doctor Who goes for the big reveal, and it kind of reminds me of, we always decried the Big Bang Theory.
And for good reason.
For many reasons, but like references are not jokes, and in a similar fashion, reveals are not story elements. Like revealing that someone is the Ronnie is not a big story thing. It's just a shock element to get people talking. It felt cheap.
So if I may also use Andor as a comparison piece,
right.
The reason it was great, Andor season 2 is fantastic, is that it takes something we're all intimately familiar with. It's almost 50 years old.
So familiar.
And it completely changes it around to something where, it's like a prestige adult series. In Star Wars, you got to remind yourself you're watching Star Wars at certain points. You're like, wait a minute, this is completely different than anything else. And Star Wars up to this point, and various other franchises, I'll just pick on Star Wars, keeps doing the same damn thing over and over, and it was getting tired. And this wasn't that. And Doctor Who, when it came back, was a new and yet still faithful version of Doctor Who. And now it's hit the point where it's doing the hits over again, which is, so it's in the same boat as, say, Skeleton Crew. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean to be that harsh, because it's still Doctor Who and I'll still watch it and I still love it more than anything else.
Yep.
But it's definitely kind of that. It's kind of in the Acolyte and Ashoka and all the rest of it sort of pen, whereas old, like, let's say first RTD, well, pretty much everything up to the second RTD was not doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And I know he's playing hits. I was worried. I was hopeful. That 15 years away from Doctor Who would have, we'd get more RTD doing Children of Earth or It's a Sin or what's the political one that apparently
Years and Years, which is great. I mean, it's got its own weird swings, but at least they're weird swings,
Right. I thought it would be like this would be a sort of a more mature RTD doing stuff. And the Ronnie reveal told me that. No, we're doing the same things. And he's expressly saying, let's just give the fans what they want. Sometimes you don't give the fans
having
what they
said
want.
that, am I looking forward to Archie Punjabi chewing the scenery? Yes, I am. Sorry, not Archie. Did I say her name wrong?
Punjabi, yeah,
Punjabi,
that's her name.
Sorry about that. But I would like to see her camp it up, because the Ronnie is camp to begin with. Like, in a different way in the 80s, but still pretty damn camp.
Well, the perception is that she's camp. It's
based on Kate O'Mara's.
It's us picking up on it. It's us picking up on the sort of the panto feelings that the McCoy era sort of gave us, or that the memory that sticks in our heads. And so it's really just building on the perception of campness as opposed to the actual.
And to be fair, my favorite master is Missy, and she's camp as hell. But she's still great. She's menacing as hell, too. And that's the thing.
Missy's been done.
That's true, too.
I mean, I know there was some consternation. RTD is sort of, he said in an Instagram post, just previewing next week, before we even talk about this week, but he said that he showed a picture of Conrad, angry podcaster.
What are you even doing there?
As part of the evil, unholy trinity of Conrad.
That's like the Ross Perot of villains. Just kind of off to the side. What is this, dude?
But he did say that's blah, 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 something, but the Ronnie's most terrifying experiment yet. So that gives me some hope, because I was worried that they just turned the Ronnie into another master clone. There's just an evil genius, when the Ronnie is just basically an amoral scientist, Yeah,
at least the previous one. It's a new regeneration, so she could have different motivations, like I doctors do.
But like
but it would be cool to have her be different, like you said, not just the master, not just essentially Missy.
Yeah,
and Missy's got more layers than that anyway, so.
Way more layers, and I worry that we won't get those layers, because RT doesn't do layers.
No,
as later on in the episode, after the Doctor, goes over the top and tortures that poor guy several times. We thought, oh wow, he must feel, pretty triggered by all those the deaths of all those people, and that's why he did it. I know this because the Doctor said, I was triggered by the potential deaths of 3 million. Thanks for just laying it right out there.
That bugged me that he was just sort of over-explaining it.
There's just no subtext in it. There's no subtext in it. Anyway, Doctor Who doesn't stand a chance right now with me, thanks to Andor and playoff hockey, and its flaws were laid bare in a lot of this episode. For me, I'm talking myself into not liking it again.
Despite all that, I agree with everything you're saying, and it was just a bit of fluffy fun before the finale. So, and also I'm dreading the finale more than anything else. I was dreading this. Now I'm dreading the finale. My dread has been transferred. I don't know what that says about me.
I was supposed to be the negative one here.
No, it's
I'm not even being all that negative, but I do agree with you.
Yeah, I'm. Anyway, the endings didn't sit well with me. Why is Mrs. Flood suddenly subservient to the Ronnie?
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
I don't understand
although
either.
You can't have two Ronnies trying to outdo each other.
Can't
Also,
have two alphas.
none of this explains the fourth wall breaking. So what's that all about? I'm sure that will get explained, but
I hope so.
Don't bet on it.
my hope is that the Ronnie is actually here to sort of be the Graham Chapman in Monty Python skits, and says, with all these gods and all this mavity nonsense going on, says this has become too silly, and she's going to come in, and the Ronnie's experiment says, oh, let's bring this back to science, damn it. And there's going to be like a weird cameo in the background with like a computer operator turn around, and he's 84-year-old Christopher H. Bidmead, and just saying, let's shut this down now.
Okay, I want to see this episode.
And then, we'll smack back into science in Doctor Who again, and that's what the Ronnie's here for.
I'm going to explain bubble memory to you, whether you like it or not.
Exactly. We're going to find out.
As a scientist, she needs to be a scientist.
She better be a scientist. Damn it, she better be a scientist, because she was a scientist in the original. I love that Pippa Jane Baker got a Ronnie created by Pippa Jane Baker.
They did. They did.
Yeah.
Quite late into the credits, but they got it.
I also like that, the BBC, they make a show that is the most just steeped in British culture, pop culture that I've ever seen. There's Eurovision, which I know nothing about. There's 60s Companions, which most people don't, outside of the UK, wouldn't like. I don't know who that old woman is. An 80s, like she says, the Ronnie, as if like, okay, so everyone's watching on Disney Plus, no idea who that is. It's basically the BBC like saying, we're going to take your money, Disney Plus, but we're going to make something expressly not for
Listen, as scams go, not a bad one.
It's pretty good. We're going to take all the money. The most expensive episode ever made of Peddler. Rylan, no idea who Rylan is.
So I saw Rylan.
He's a good guy. He looks like a neat guy. It looks like he's a
Rylan Clark is always a presenter, sometimes actor, but he came to prominence through Big Brother.
Apparently, he's very personable in person, because I was like, this guy looks like he'd be a real pain to hang with, and I had people say, no, he's actually not. He's apparently pretty cool.
Yeah,
but I looked at him. I'm like, that face is flawless. That's an uncanny valley face. Like, I don't think that's real. Actually,
I think he's paid a lot to have that face.
Sure, but I mean, that's like the polygonal structure is high there.
Right, yeah. I think his teeth are its own black light, just like they shine everywhere else. You can just see him.
But I did like how he's making fun of his career in it.
That's true. Like my career. Some nice self. Yeah, I thought he was all right, actually. I didn't mind Rylan in that. I just didn't know who he was,
Apparently, the Ronnie was name checked in Space Babies, which, if that's the case, I have forgotten.
Oh my God, the Poppy agenda. Is Poppy going to bi-generate into the Ronnie as the baby?
Was Poppy in the audience?
No,
we got Poppy Honey. I'm sure that's going to have something to do with Poppy.
Okay, she became a honey magnate.
Bonnie Langford's dog.
Maybe she's the one that torched all of Hellia.
Oh, there you go.
Bonnie Langford's dog is named Puppy.
Why isn't Bonnie Langford's dog in this?
Well,
why isn't it hanging around in unit?
Maybe
she will be.
Maybe Bonnie Langford's probably going to be back.
So you'll be like, I hate this episode, Puppy.
Yeah. I thought actually, as the episode started, the shot of the people getting sucked up into space,
that's a great shot.
Vortex,
terrifying.
Yeah,
really good. That was very
well
done.
That
looked very good.
I wish
the pop of the Mavity layer.
I wish it's an impressive shot, so impressive they couldn't resist using it in all the trailers, which is unfortunate in a way, because I thought
they were all those silhouetted. That's the best shot.
I know when they're all
huge crowd shot. That's great.
Yeah, and and you know what, the music actually underplayed that moment. Rare. Which I really liked. And then just to dump on the music again, honestly, Murray Gold's songs weren't the worst offender here. It was the music in underneath Cora's story telling about just like
that was a bit over the top.
Oh God!
The one part where it was over the top and it was fine is where he sees Susan and he's got to get back to the. Okay, I'm like, all right, this is the Doctor's theme. It's over the top. It should be at this point.
It's a little bit Princess Leia in space in Last Jedi and a boat.
Excuse me, it's Fort of Doomsday. We've already established this.
Oh, okay, that's true. I mean, freezing in space and
in fact, the Princess Leia in space is ripping off Fort of Doomsday as well. Everything is homaging Fort of Doomsday.
Fort of Doomsday, exactly. So I like that bit. Well,
you're talking about Rylan Clark. How about Mr. Graham Norton?
Graham Norton,
inoffensive. I didn't mind him actually.
Yeah, as a talking avatar,
and I liked how he's very cheerily telling us about the destruction of the Earth.
That's true. Yeah, that was fine, I guess. Kid was, I don't know. He seemed like
kind of a nobody. Yeah.
He seemed, remarkably efficient, taking over the entirety of, he already has control of the bots, the murder bots, whatever they are. What are they? The security drones or something like that. I don't know.
The guys from Smith and Jones, basically, except zhuzhed up.
He already had them. I feel like I would have appreciated some. I don't know, some build up to him actually like taking control of everything. I don't know, a bit more heisty stuff.
He's got his partner as the inside person,
right?
But as you say, he already had that control. Either it happens off screen and we don't see it, or he had it already and didn't need the inside person as much.
Takes it over pretty effectively in pretty quick fashion.
I call him Dirtbag Thanos because he's a dirtbag and he's doing what Thanos did. Or trying to, anyway.
With his Delta Wave augmenter, obviously a Kinda agenda
obviously.
as well.
Well, Delta Wave, not augmenter, but obviously the joke is there.
Yeah.
You talk about how easily he took things over, which absolutely true. He was also dispatched.
Very
easily as well. So his whole purpose was like, maybe a couple like catalyst points, but the character itself was utter waste.
He was kind of, wasn't he? He was a one note. He was very. Although, was it Freddie Fox? Is his name? Is that his the cat's name? I thought the way that he screamed in pain made that work. Like I felt for him. I felt for him when the doctor was doing his weird glove thing because it felt real. It was a good performance actually when he was in pain. But other than that, I thought it was like there was a dumb line which says, "Oh well, think of that. We got a plan for that." Well, say if he had food poisoning, like he built it up like he had a massive plan, and he just, I don't know, we'll do food poisoning. Food poisoning? I don't know. It just felt, anyway, that's, I'm feeling down on this episode. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this already?
Well, you're mostly the one doing it, actually.
I know. So. I thought we liked Doctor Who. Maybe we don't anymore.
What's with this plural? Like, I didn't mind this.
I know.
Is it flawed? Yeah, but it didn't. Yeah. It didn't. I thought I was going to hate it and just not and want to turn it off, and I didn't. So, mission accomplished.
Yeah, I guess it was fine.
Yeah, fine. It was fine. That was all I ever expected out of it. It was fine.
This is where I'm coming to terms with it. Was it fine? I guess.
And also next week, not to jump too far ahead, RTD is great at build-up. I will forget and forgive many sins because the build-up will be fun. And then the finale will be like, come on, you did nothing with any of this, which is what he always does.
He's a good hype man.
Yeah, Sound of Drums, fantastic. Great build-up.
I'm sure there's going to be a big shock reveal. Someone's going to say directly to camera, you remember me. I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to conjure up.
See, you got to have somebody fabulous. So that's why I'm saying it's Omega, because he's fabulous in both his own incarnations.
Oh, that's right.
But you got to have original OG Omega.
It'll be OG Omega to look like that, and
now they can afford name brand Rice Krispies for him.
we won't be talking. Actually, maybe it is an Arc of Infinity.
Yeah, Peter Davison stumbles in covered in Rice Krispies. He's bi-generated from that doctor or whatever.
There's a bi-generation.
Which makes no sense because that's Omega.
There's a bi-generation, and Peter Davison shows up, and he's there, and he bi-generates into Omega from Arc of Infinity.
With Rice Krispies on his face.
With Rice Krispies on his face.
I keep eating these damn things, and they keep regenerating. Or bi-generating, so different cereals keep popping out of his face.
It's going to happen, isn't it? All this stuff's going to happen. Listen, we got the Ronnie and Mrs. Flood and Susan all in one go in September.
Which is... just the fact that they did that is kind of nuts.
Nuts or... Anyway.
Kind of stupid too, yeah. But
Chris, do you have notes for this one? I feel like we need some direction.
Of course I do.
Yeah. But Eurovision or this episode? Yeah.
We can talk about Eurovision.
You can talk about Eurovision.
Yeah. I watched Eurovision. I didn't watch it. I had it up on my iPad for the entirety of the competition, and I was mostly impressed by the stagecraft, about how they swapped out sets in like 35 seconds, and the LED walls going on and all this stuff is an impressive thing. And then I turned the volume up, and I was like, this is like, what if AI created Broadway show tunes for different countries to sing, and that's what my general impression of the music was. So we're turning that volume right back down. I didn't like any of the songs. Not my type of music.
That's because they weren't made in 1970 something.
They weren't. No, they're not. What Ukraine had a drummer. I noticed that they had a drummer.
So several of them had a drummer.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, it's all mimed on stage, and live instrumentation is not allowed.
Well, at least they're honest about it.
What?
Yeah, it's all mine.
Were you looking to make Stephen mad? Because here we are.
Are they miming the singing too?
Nope. Singing. The singing has to be live. Okay. Other than they are allowed to have pre-recorded backing vocals, which is post-COVID.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the reason for that?
Yeah, post-COVID to try to because whether it's keeping the number of people on stage, which is capped at 6 anyway, but keeping the number of people on stage down or proximity between people lower or whatever. But yeah, so pre-recorded backing vocals have been allowed since 2021. But anything else is like there's no live instrumentation allowed. Everything is mimed for guitars, drums, whatever.
Well, this sucks. I almost had an
your faith and love for Eurovision is crushed.
It's a song contest after all.
You know what? I watched a snippet of the 1981 Bucks Fizz performance of "Making Your Mind Up," which of course won Eurovision that year and was featured in this episode, and looked like they were miming too. So they didn't look. I don't know. I'm gonna have to. Were they singing? The answers in the chat in the live stream. Did Bucks Fizz sing "Making Your Mind Up" in 1981
I'm going to disassociate
Eurovision?
During our podcast about Eurovision tangentially if you don't stop talking about this. So right. Go on, Chris.
We'll get to that one.
All right. Anyway, so I watched Eurovision it was you're back to your notes. Sorry, Chris.
I haven't even started my notes.
No.
Feel free to ramble.
No. I'm done. I'm done for now. Go for it.
Liking the songs, hating the songs, whatever. The technical aspects of Eurovision are very impressive.
Can't argue with that.
Whether it's the production side, the stage management, the whatever. A lot of money and resources go into it, and
it's like Strictly or the Tonys.
It's pulled off pretty well.
All those have great execution.
Yeah.
I don't care about any of them, but they all have great execution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. I'm trying to think of other broad strokes to talk about first, but okay, whatever.
Oh yeah.
So go ahead.
No, these are our broad strokes. This is the jumping point off here to talk about other broad strokes. It's to remember, because right now I'm just thinking of the negative reaction I had towards the end of the episode that's sort of clouding my judgment of the whole
Which
thing.
has very little to do with Eurovision. It's RTD's nonsense.
Yeah, for a while there, it kind of reminded me of that Simpsons episode where they go to the Super Bowl and we don't see a single second of football actually being played, and they make mention of that.
That was in Miami.
Yeah.
Much like the film United Passions, which is about FIFA business guys meeting. It's terrible. I've seen it.
The FIFA sanctioned movie starring
so bad.
Tim
Roth, who said I made it because I needed money. Oh. That's basically what he said. Anyway, sorry, Chris, I'm interrupting.
Go for it, Chris.
The corporation, the sponsor of the song contest is Poppy Honey. Right. How will this tie into Poppy from Space Babies? Especially given we saw her last week.
Did Poppy from Space Babies grow up and then? Oh no, I don't.
Like I said, maybe she torched the planet Helia after stealing all the seeds.
This infant with a flamethrower.
What'll happen is she'll confront the doctor and say, because you didn't do this in Space Babies, which nobody watched in season 2 and not season 1 remembers, I became evil. And he'll be like, "Oh no, I'm crying again," or something.
Yeah,
it could be a grown-up Poppy. It doesn't have to.
That's what I mean.
Toddler.
It will be.
It doesn't have to be a toddler with a flamethrower.
No, it will totally be a grown-up Poppy.
What if it isn't? Maybe it's a small child with a motion capture mouth and
a suit because she's a business tycoon.
And a suit. She's a business tycoon now. She's 2.5 years old, and I operate a mean.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
That's true. Maybe it'll happen. Was that one of your points, Chris? Go for it.
That was all of my points.
That's all of them?
Okay. Just all about Poppy in a business suit.
All right.
2.5.
Exactly.
All right. Let's do it. All right.
Why would Rylan not be a part of the dress rehearsal?
Good point.
It just makes no point. It makes no sense other than as a stupid little plot element of people. They say, "Oh, we can explain that he had food poisoning or whatever it was."
Maybe, right. But here's my theory. Here's my fan theory. Okay. Because they keep reviving him every 100 years or whatever it is, or every year for this thing. Maybe that's in his rider where he says, "All right, but I'm not doing I'm done with the dress rehearsals. If you're going to preserve my body cryogenically and keep bringing me back, No dress rehearsals.
I've done 802 of these things. I don't need to do
I know what I'm
anymore.
doing, yeah.
Because Eurovision final runs for about 4 hours. So, I mean, the 4 hours that it would take out of his life must be a monumental chunk for him to have to be
exactly
frozen. Why didn't they just leave him frozen when he was pulled from space then?
Are you pulling apart my half-assed off-the-cuff conjecture, Chris? Because I'm very offended by this.
Hey, kids, this is Slideshow Bob. Hey, kids, bada bing, bada boom, love for the professionals, kid. And Krusty runs off. Okay, Krusty, we're ready to record here. Whoop, he's just like, that's the way he does it. He just goes in and out. He's a pro. Ryan's a pro. Doesn't need no dress rehearsal. All right?
It ties into my next thing. I liked how presenters, or at least Rylan, are being shown as hollow and vapid, needing others to feed them lines or data or information.
Right.
I did like that the cat woman, who never really speaks, or I didn't notice her speaking.
She speaks French.
She speaks French.
She's a French cat. I'm like, well, that tracks. Cats
the
are all French, really.
Too. The actor's French, too.
The actor's French.
Yeah. It's good to know that in whatever 2945 is that there are still two official languages, English and French.
So Canada took over is what you're saying, yes.
Well, maybe it's a CBC initiative, because one of the aliens is played by Richard Price. He posted shots of this.
That's awesome.
I thought it was like, he's got a CBC pin on. No, the flag.
That's also awesome.
It's 3 CBC logos.
That rules.
So Canada exists as a country, and we look like whatchamacallit, Lance Guest's co-pilot in The Last Starfighter. Yeah.
Nice. But after the Earth was destroyed on May 24th, when it was reformed, the Beachcombers became the ultimate cultural touchstone, which is why this happened.
Until May 24th of this year, when the planet was incinerated, and
that's when it came back.
And the CBC logos were resurrected from like tribal whatever that was scraped from.
He need not die.
Yeah.
But anyway, in the Unleashed, Rylan says, how that's not him. He's a pro. He can vamp. He can whatever.
Yeah.
Susan with an exclamation mark.
Susan. Mm-hmm. Got me. That surprised me.
I'm glad it finally happened instead of the endless teasing.
I suppose so.
That I did not expect.
No, nor I.
I also enjoyed how. Okay, so obviously we know nothing yet, so anything we say is supposition.
Right.
But fine, let's get into some guesswork here.
Okay.
So Susan calls the Shudigawa doctor grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
So the doctor is envisioning Susan as Carol Ann Ford looks now in her 80s.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Is Susan picturing Shudigawa as the doctor when she says grandfather? Does she know? Is
well,
she
Time Lords
have
just kind of know.
Difference?
Time Lords just kind of know, yeah. I think
that completely screws up the Mrs. Flood thing, because why wouldn't Shudi know, or the 15th Doctor know that that's a Time Lord or a Time Lady?
Mm-hmm.
Also, here's my crazy theory. What if Susan regenerates, and then that evil Susan becomes part of the unholy trinity? That's the kind of nonsense RTD might do.
I
think he's too reverent. I think he's too reverential to not do that.
Yeah,
I can't accuse the guy of stuff I just cooked up out of my head, but
I feel like Susan. I don't know. I have theories, but I'll wait. I'll wait on
just
those.
to address a question in the chat from Steve Manford. When did the Doctor ever see Mrs. Flood and all this? Well, he does run into her a couple times in. Was it Church on Ruby Road?
The Time Lord thing's convenient anyway. Yeah. Like, I'm sure you could pick up other examples where that doesn't happen. Harold Saxon, for instance.
But yes, the Doctor has seen and
Robot Revolution
and talked to Mrs. Flood more than once. I think.
Yeah, I think
Robot Revolution
for sure. Robot Revolution. Yeah.
And also in season. So after watching this, I searched YouTube and found a compilation of all the clips from season 1 of Anita Dobson, and it even included her appearance at the proms because she was in character as Mrs. Flood.
That's right.
And yeah, the Doctor does. The Doctor does. Meet her, etc. And B, nothing she said, like no lines she had in the past contradict her being the Ronnie.
Okay, that's good.
Very little enforces that idea, but nothing contradicts it either. Right. So
it's vague enough dialogue, basically. That
kind of, but there is some specificity in there,
right?
Like when she says, "What's the matter? You never seen a TARDIS before?" or whatever. So she
acted like she hadn't. So yeah.
Well, no, but she was playing dumb to the neighbor, and then of course once he walks away, she turns to camera and breaks the fourth wall with the whole TARDIS line.
Or she was in hiding and just the doctor's back.
Right.
How did she survive the Time War? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Or in the white jacket on the roof at the end of series 1,
talking straight to camera, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Was the Doctor when you saying all of them last the Time Lords they all died in a single second? Was that the first time Gallifrey was destroyed, or the second time? I don't.
Second time sucks.
Take your pick.
Okay. There's a lot to like in Chibnall, but
as Warren pointed out, I mean, the Time Lords are supposed to be able to detect one another outside of chameleon arch nonsense or whatever type stuff.
Hey, Chameleon Arch's record is pretty good, actually, compared to this stuff.
Maybe there's a forthcoming explanation of how or why he didn't know.
And when they do explain it, just give me a one line aside. That's all I need. Just something. But it doesn't need to take up a pile of room.
It's going to have flashbacks, Warren. It's got to have flashbacks.
In black and white with warped video and all that.
Sure, but it's flashbacks to Dimensions in Time. It's going to be canonized.
God, absolutely not. That's the ultimate nightmare. I'll take Eurovision over Dimensions in Time being canonized.
Last appearance of the Ronnie before this. Last appearance of Susan before this.
Sure.
Yeah, listen.
Unacceptable, but sure.
Add to the great list of crimes to Dimension in Time that it robs Caroline Ford of a Guinness Book of World Record because she appeared in Dimensions in Time.
And 5 Doctors.
And 5. Oh,
that's true,
Doctors, of course, too. So, I still want to blame 5. Dimension in Time for something, but yeah,
you just need a scapegoat.
I do,
and that's fair. Dimensions in Time is a valid scapegoat.
I mean, Dimensions in Time.
Is that the most camp Doctor who's ever been?
Well, for now,
according to the Doctor, this is the most camp
far. The next 2 episodes, Warren, are still on the table. So,
by the way, him saying camp, deliberate acknowledgement of the podcast. Is it camp?
The biggest thing is we're working with a minute of screen time or whatever. We don't know anything yet, and we will be told. Ideally,
we'll be told.
We will be told. Ideally,
you will be told.
I do have a theory, in that there's the Ronnie there. If you look at her outfit there, as we're showing on the live stream, she's got like a red leather thing, and then specifically the boots.
Those boots are awesome.
The boots with the huge lifts on them. Immediately reminded me of, because I'm me, they reminded me of the very same boots and very similar outfit to what the pirate captain in the Pirate Planet.
That's true, actually.
So is the Ronnie actually the captain from the Pirate Planet?
No.
Well, let me guess. Mrs. Flood is short for Mrs. Fibula.
It's right there. That's why she's so
scary thing is, I'm like, it's possible. It's the kind of thing they might do. We'll see.
It's not outside the realm of what RTD is capable
of credibility.
Of.
Well, it's totally incredibly stupid, but
there you go. Conrad is Mr. Fibula.
Conrad is Mr.
if anybody's Mr. Fibula, it's probably Conrad.
Yeah, the evil podcaster is.
It looks like Ryan Gosling in that photo. That press photo.
Hey, that's an insult to massive Whovian Ryan Gosling.
How dare you? How dare you take Ryan Gosling's name in vain? That is
What are those boat shoes? Come on, dude. What are you from? Are you a Kennedy? What's going on here?
I feel like he's not the unholy trinity, but I think he's like going to interview them on his podcast.
Also, what is all this crap behind them? What are these big sword thingies?
That's Ronnie's TARDIS, probably.
Well, that's kind of a cool looking TARDIS then.
Yeah, her TARDIS is in
also, if you bring up that photo again, look at Mrs. Flood's belt line with the keys.
Yeah,
because she's the warden uniform
thing.
She's let what's her name out? Yeah,
which is how they have her open up some prison and let out all of Doctor Who's worst villains. I'm just going to pile the dumbest ideas into this thing. So anything that comes that he actually does will make me feel better.
It's wish world. Anything you wish is going to come true. So whatever
that
you
means
want.
A lot of fan wank is what that means.
God, I hadn't thought about that aspect, that possibility.
Maybe the unholy trinity is those 3 Doctor Who fans from Lux. In fact, we might be looking at an unholy trinity right now.
What's your next plot point there, Chris?
Well, to be fair, Warren, I mean, we had a interruption of the closing credits for the coda, like we did in Lux.
That's true. Good point.
Yeah, mid-credit scene. Gotta love those. All right.
Susan calling the Doctor grandfather. So I'm just, I hope, I don't know if we're going to get something. I don't know if I care if we get an explanation on that, but I'm curious about, like, how does she envision the Doctor.
I think
having been in Dimensions in Time and seeing at least the first 7 incarnations.
And knowing about regeneration because she is a time lord or lady.
Yeah.
But also, I think if she meets him in person, I have no idea if that's going to happen or not. But if she meets him in person, she'll just it won't even mention it. It'll just be like, oh, of course it's a Doctor. That's my grandfather.
There, Warren, your is it camp cohort? Sarah's on the chat
good.
now. I see. Thanks, Sarah. What do we got here? Confetti cannon versus cricket ball. What worked better? The Doctor had a lot further of a distance to travel with the confetti cannon.
You're appealing to my nostalgia here with the cricket ball, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Honestly, if I had to say one or the other, then the confetti cannon is a lot more efficient, frankly, which doesn't make any physics sense, but okay, whatever. Who cares? An episode about Eurovision.
Neil in the chat says, "You think you're going to get explanations? So naive."
Well, I think I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot not for the first time.
I think we might get explanations. I don't think we're going to like what they are.
So you escaped from Zarephath. That's what we're going to get. Anyway.
As you know.
The Doctor's revival after coming back in from space was very Pulp Fiction.
I guess.
Yeah.
It was nice where Gary goes, I'm glad you never had to see me work because something bad's happening, and I wouldn't want you to be the person I'm treating. I thought that was kind of nice.
Yeah. I think it's probably somewhere later on, but the whole smittenness, infatuation between Gary and Mike and the Doctor.
Mm-hmm. I've seen worse thruples.
Each of them stepping over each other for Gary and Mike, each of them stepping over each other to, just get close to the Doctor. And what was it? Gary says, get back in your lane or whatever.
Back in the queue. Yeah, back in the queue.
That was funny.
Yeah. That was cute. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Being hit over the head with a Mavity hammer. God, I'm sick of the Mavity thing.
Oh,
it's getting a little tired. I got to admit.
Yeah,
it's a little much. It's a little too much.
Yeah, I mean,
committing to the bit. Fix it or something. Or
hopefully this will be part of it. The Ronnie's going to say, no, none of this. This is all too silly. No more Mavity. No more gods of nonsense.
Maybe we'll get another trip back to Isaac Newton and it'll get corrected.
Maybe Archie Panjabi's the new Doctor, and Shruti Gatwa will regenerate into Archie Panjabi, and she'll be the new Doctor, wiping out nonsense throughout the universe. And
that's your own show.
That's my own show. All right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Mavity thing was cute, but this too much in too short a time here.
Yeah, a little bit.
I liked how the survivors were split apart without any knowledge of each other. It's kind of very Doctor Who Who storytelling. It obviously also helped with Belinda not realizing why the Doctor was doing what he's doing and all that kind of stuff later on, which we'll get to. Hell poppies sound pretty badass.
You're just taking shots at hell poppies.
Hell poppies.
Yeah,
it's a very mostly tolerant universe, except for that one planet where they just
they all hate for some reason.
They all hate them for some reason.
I didn't.
To be fair, there are parallel. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
I was gonna say I didn't put anything explicitly about that in my notes, but it's like anytime Hellions are mentioned, it's like there's just this instant derision and hate. And
right.
Here's my point is that that seems far-fetched, but what about Turf Island? We hate trans people now. Why? Because same thing. Like, we can't have transgender people in sports or in the army because they're too tough for one and not the other. Well, actually, that's applying logic to just straight up, prejudice. But so I'm not surprised. It does come off as ridiculous, but we see it every day now. So and beforehand too. So.
As Neil says in the chat, I was just going to say too, Hellions, they're hell. They have they're goats. They're basically satyrs.
It's a little on the nose.
It's just like, once again, subtext gone from RTD's.
You don't need that. Get that out of
there. We don't need
there.
it. Gotta get it. We gotta get the point across. Gotta hammer it home. You're not feeling the way you're supposed to do when she's talking about her home planet. Murray, bring the strings in. Come on, we gotta hear some music.
Obviously, RTD would have had his input in the episode because showrunner, head writer, whatever. But there's no credit to him. It's all Juno Dawson in the credit.
But still, it's there.
But still, the upshot of something like that is it does convey a message very easily, very very economically as well. So. It's lame, but it serves a purpose, I suppose.
It's utilitarian lameness.
Warren and Steven doubtless like the notion of the song contest audience being killed by a delta wave.
I didn't dislike it.
3 trillion is going a little far.
Yeah, it's a little far. A little Thanos-y.
So I guess it's because there was no interruption between the live and the dress rehearsal, but like the amount of viewers didn't drop whatsoever at any point where they showed the 3 trillion viewers.
Nobody. They're
left. Still watching from the bubble.
Yeah,
but what happens?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Just
I'm freezing and dying, but
pulling up their space phones. They go, "Oh, we can't miss the show." Yeah.
Like I said, the audience wouldn't have any clue necessarily, other than the absence of Rylan.
Yeah.
Cora being a Hellion, so evident, so obvious, way before the reveal.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
Just so. Yeah. I don't know if that's a victim of editing. I don't know if it's just the writing.
Right.
But as I'll get into in other points coming up, the pacing of the plot and the story in this is so disjointed and off and horrible.
I hear you.
That it's jarring.
That it's wrapped up by 35 minutes in, like I was saying. And so we have 10 minutes
left
for me, it was
songs.
Just,
she's got that big hair and she's doing all these eye motions. Like, it's clearly she's a Hellion. I'm like, well, I thought she would like pull her hair off and the horns would be there instead of them being cut off. But I mean,
I know.
I had the same expectation as well. But
I figured they were cut off at one point there.
I mean, just the fact she had such a giant bouffant as well.
It's there
to hide intact horns or would have hid intact horns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if that easy, why aren't all Hellions doing that?
Well, I don't think it was easy. Would she say it was forced upon her? We don't know. We don't know why necessarily. Other than it did allow her to pretend she was from, was it Tryon or something? Not Tryon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Turlo mentioned. Well, not really.
Was it Tryon?
No. Yes.
No, it was Triton or whatever.
Yeah, it was Tryon.
It was Tryon.
Yeah. Which is either Turlo's home planet or the home planet of the Masters from the Tripods TV series. Or both.
Why not both? Tripods coming back. Wishworld.
Oh my God, maybe the Tripods are back. They're going to make season 3 of the Tripods.
So Wishworld would be all the most obscure things. The Sandbaggers are coming back in Wishworld.
Neil Marsden. Roy Marsden. Neil Burnside returns in set. They're all wearing bowler hats in the episode 7.
They're going to go into that McDonald's on 150 Victoria Street.
So, anyway, Mark Strickson back next week.
Mark Strickson back next week. Why not? Wishworld. It all can happen. It can all happen.
Because he generated in Planet of Fire.
Make it
along with, what's his name? I can't remember his name. The main not bad guy. The guy everybody hates.
Who?
What now?
From what?
I can't remember his name.
Palpatine?
No. In Planet of Fire, the father figure guy who brings them out.
Howard?
Timonov.
No.
The Master.
No.
Logar.
No. The guy who was in a bunch of other shows. The guy was secretly gay and everybody hated him.
Peter Wingard?
Peter Wingard. That's what I was thinking of. He needs to come back.
I thought you meant the character. I thought you meant the character.
No. I meant the actor. The actor. They need to generate Peter Wingard.
Okay, sorry.
He comes back as a master.
We were like drifting into what's that film you love,
Yeah, I know.
His father's a robot and he's having.
I don't know why I couldn't remember his name.
Stephen, do you have a copy of his song "Rape" ready to play into?
Stop it!
Oh yeah, sorry. What did I do? I opened that can of worms.
Next point.
Neil
I know he's dead. That's half the point here, Neil. Somebody
point.
playing Peter Wingard needs to come in. It's a Wishworld. We can do it.
Yeah, there we go.
What's your next point?
I'm sure there's some Peter Wingard cosplayer out there.
Sure.
All right. So the Doctor threatening Kid over the lives of the 3 trillion people was very dark. Without naming names, Stephen, you got an advance summary of the episode that just said very dark, I believe.
That's right. I mean,
which I was fine with.
RTD was saying that as well. It's like, it's very dark. It's not just as it's tired. So yeah. I as the weeks went along, I sort of think, what? I think it's probably darker than I'm expecting, and then it wrapped up with 35 minutes left. I thought, oh no, there's going to be songs.
The Doctor threatening Kid over the lives was very dark. Shudi's performance was very uncomfortable. Good.
Okay.
Right. Very, very, very effective.
Yeah, I like him in this.
Shudi's performance was very uncomfortable, but apparently he has a particular set of skills he has acquired over a very long career, skills that make him a nightmare for people like Kid. It's a riff on Taken, because he starts going on.
I never watched Taken.
About that tangent.
I'll find you and I'll kill you.
Yeah, I know the meme.
I've never seen Taken, but
I know, yeah.
We all know the quote.
We all know the memes. That's all that media is now. It's memes. So.
And you're really right. That's half the problem with media is it's all memes and vertical video of people going, here's what I did with my day. I don't care. I've got my own day to live.
From Brian Snape in the chat, I'm starting to get the sense RFS wants Chibnall back. I am one story short of finishing off the Jodie Whittaker box set. I've got just part of the Doctor yet to go.
Right.
I don't want Chibnall back.
Whoa, here we go.
I kind of missed the era, though, to be honest with you.
I might have said this last week. I can't remember. But anyway, 11 went up in my estimation. Season 12 went down to 13. Flux is so goddamn such a mess.
Wow.
But the COVID's got a lot to do with it.
It had so much working against it that they did, I'm sure, the best they could
with what they had.
More or less. But no, COVID or Flux is just such a mess because of COVID. And then Sea Devils. Oh, yeah. I still mostly dig Eve of the Daleks. It's a bit of a palate cleanser in between.
Just wait till War Between the Land and the Sea shows up and you're like, Legends of Sea Devils wasn't that bad. Which is, you can't.
We don't know that yet. We don't know that yet.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going by our trajectory so far.
Yeah.
Belinda's disbelief at the Doctor's threats, equally uncomfortable. Very good performance from Verita Sethu there as well.
She didn't have a hell of a lot to do either, honestly.
No,
again.
She had some, she was the sympathetic ear to.
That's 2 weeks of Belinda just sort of like hearing people say things to her.
Yeah, well, next week is about her. Essentially, it's about her because it's about getting her back to Earth and Earth being destroyed. So theoretically, that's pretty Belinda-centric.
So was the whole series, though, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not sure I like the resolution to the big mystery box delta wave generator thing being a quick zap with the sonic and then boom, it's destroyed.
That's true. Yeah.
It's just far too simplistic. That said, it is a MacGuffin to get the Doctor into the gallery with kids, so it served its purpose.
I guess. I mean, he does a lot with that Sonic. This has been the most Sonic solves everything. It's going to blow off the heads of robots. It's going to blow up this delta wave thing. It's going to do this with that.
We need a couple more Trepitals in there to call their numbers of Sonics.
Triplicate the Mavity field. It does that too. I mean, it did a lot of stuff.
Well, that was through the wire. He was playing with the wiring.
That's true.
So why triplicate instead of triple?
Triplicate is a throwback.
That's a bigger word.
It's a throwback to literally Aliens of London, World War III, when it says triplicate the flammability of this alcohol to the.
And speaking of which, there's pigs here. So those pigs survived, and they're watching Song Contest now.
Yep.
I got to admit, I was a little amused when in Unleashed, Ryland Clark was talking about how he's such a massive Doctor Who fan, and the pigs in this reminded him of the space pig, and
it's all coming back
in the.
I don't often gatekeep classic series, but I was like, "Oh, you're a massive Doctor Who fan, are you, Ryland?" What about? I caught myself doing that. I'm like,
Christopher Eccleston's your first Doctor.
Yeah, well, you're a massive Doctor Who fan, are you? And I was like, all right, you can't do it just because this guy's some celebrity announcer. You can't be that way to him either. Yeah, and you'll never hear about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure what age he is, but he should be old. I think he's old enough to have
apparently
at least been around
1,000 years old, according to this episode.
Yeah. Considering the Doctor foiled Kid's plan so easily, his cruelty with shocking Kid multiple times doesn't really sit well. Once the box was destroyed, the Doctor could have restrained Kid, taken him to the authorities, the Justice Monolith, as it was later said, or something else that just wasn't just outright torture.
It all seemed over the top a little bit,
It was. Okay, fine, the Doctor's triggered because of the similarities to Gallifrey, as you said, which time.
Right.
But I don't want that Doctor.
I don't mind him being.
I don't want that
Doctor
even for 10 minutes. Yeah.
I like it going back to what is A Good Man Goes to War, when Matt Smith sort of like gets, he sort of
the Colonel Runaway scene.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm angry. This is like a new feel, like he underplays it all. It's like, oh, wow, this feels different and stuff. Cause you can sort of see the rage bubbling in there, but he doesn't actually let it come out,
Ryland is 36.
He's 36 years old. Yep.
He looks, what is it, maybe 46?
I looked it up too.
But a very smooth 46.
A smooth 46, yeah.
With good teeth. Or, yeah.
I don't mind the Doctor being, just to go back to that for a second, I don't mind the Doctor having a little bit more to him or her. Like,
I know, but
at one point Jodie does that. I'm sometimes it's not a flat team structure, that kind of stuff. So I don't mind that, but it's all in how you execute it.
It felt like there was a switch that was flipped. Dark, angry Doctor, and then he literally says, as I mentioned later,
pointing it out.
I was triggered by the death of 3 trillion people.
Having said that, in universe, the 14th Doctor has done his therapy work, so this 15th might be more, cognizant of what he went through. I guess,
I guess, but like a natural build to that sort of feeling.
I'm doing work on the show's behalf that I shouldn't.
You really
have to be
are,
doing.
and you got to do that. You got to do that. That's the thing. Yeah.
I don't know if maybe that's a victim of just the runtime. Or the amount of story they wanted to fit in, or whatever the case is. But like I said, I don't like that Doctor. I don't want that Doctor. That's not my Doctor.
Yeah. Ooh.
We'll probably get a bit of it.
I'll say it
near the end.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it lets both main actors just really display their chops. Which if that's what I get out of it, okay, I'll take it. Because Ncuti especially just magnificent in his performance with all that. Yeah.
Audible sigh.
I think I like this the best of everybody. What's wrong with the universe? What the hell's going on here?
I don't know.
I think I'm going to do a summary at the end of this. Anyway, keep
going.
Considering the. I did that one. After the Doctor envisions Susan telling him to stop torturing Kid, you still hear the zap sound 8 more times.
Yeah, goes on a little long.
It's a little much.
Yeah,
the guy's down on the floor. He's lying in a prone position and zap. Like, do not like.
He was triggered by the potential death of 3 trillion people. I don't know if you caught that subtext in this. That's why.
I must have missed that somewhere.
Real Barney Gumble. Don't cry for me. I'm already dead.
Yeah. I wish it had been said as an overt line.
I know it's. I know you got to read. You got to read between the lines on this in our.
I need things spelled out to me. Come on.
It's all nuance and subtext with this showrunner.
Yeah.
Yeah. 8 more times. 8 more times. The Doctor's guilt over his actions. So at least he was, felt guilty after the fact. But the Doctor's guilt over his actions was portrayed magnificently by Ncuti. But I don't like him and Belinda hugging straight away after he's done torturing.
Right.
Kid.
He doesn't deserve that hug. Yeah.
She was aghast at his actions.
Yeah.
And she should have smacked him, talked to him, said something, chided him, something.
Yeah.
The first. And then before
it's like,
there's no discussion. She is livid at his. That's not him.
Yeah.
Says nothing about it in the gallery. Later on, after around the time of the Graham, both of them seeing the Graham Norton hologram, whatever. She's like, "Do his plant, Doctor." And then she says, "Oh, you scared me." Oh, no.
And her character has not been like that up to this point. She's been calling him on his nonsense, lesser nonsense up to now.
Yeah, and even around that same time, she turns to him and says, "Have I ever said you're wonderful?"
You literally said that's on him. He nearly murdered that guy. Oh, I agree.
Although, have you ever watched
the tone shifts
army propaganda from American film studios where it's like, it's so tough for me to have to snipe this guy in the Middle East? Yeah, I'm sure you're the guy who's got the real problem here, not the sniped.
Yeah.
Not that this is like that. It just reminded me of that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I need to get off this tangent here.
Yeah. Next point.
Converting a hard light hologram into a tractor beam. What the F?
Is that a Red Dwarf reference? Yeah,
that's
right.
exactly what I thought too.
Do that. Fortunately, the 2 guys who survived getting sucked off into space are the 2 guys. One's a nurse, and the other designed literally everything about Eurovision, apparently, but still has to buy a ticket, which is amusing to me.
No, that sounds. We worked in TV. That sounds absolutely typical.
That's true. Yeah.
At least it is said that he has worked for the song contest to explain why he knows this corner has this equipment or whatever. There's just too much technobabble garbage. I mean that's not unfamiliar territory for Doctor Who, but it's like the Mavity. This is too much in too short a time.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. The flirting and interplay between the Doctor, Gary, and Mike. Dug that. I already talked about that briefly.
Right. Gary and Mike are the MVPs, in my opinion.
Sure. And I like that they're, I like that everyone, I think I like anyway, that everyone has a role. Gary's going to be the guy that does the hologram, and Mike's going to be the guy to help to nurse all the people out of the pod.
That's true. Belinda's the person who listens to things.
Cora's manager, writing partner, whatever. His role's not even explained. He's just there.
No, he's just there. I don't know what I don't know what his.
He talks about
but he knows what to do too, though. He knows how to
He talks about the years it took to write the Big Feet song. But his role isn't explained. But yeah, exactly. He has a place. Oh, I wish somebody could convert this VIP pod into a whatever recovery chamber
resurrection.
Thing.
Yeah. Pod or whatever.
Which, okay, good, fine, insofar as one person at a time for 100,000 people, except for the time we saw two people come out of the pod at the same time, which makes no sense either.
That's true.
Having other outlets for the resuscitation or recovery of the people, okay, fine, good.
Bucks Fizz was playing. You don't need to worry about it, Chris. Nope. Everyone was laughing. And the first thing that Liz Lizardine did when she came out of Frozen Suspensions is a single line. Oh!
Hey, we all know theater kids. That tracks.
That's true, actually. That is a very good point. Yeah. Also, by the way, that I still want to hammer the point home that person, Liz Lizardine, was of the same species as Malfa from the Daleks Master Plan. If you're watching our live stream, seen in
this is the most important part.
Seen in a file photo being offered a cigarette by Verity Lambert. I think they are the same species. So
I am sick of RTD's references. Now let me show you something from the Daleks Master Plan.
That's my guess. Based on nothing, but it's my guess.
Anyway. I mean, I'm fine with it, but yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as Ryland stepped out of the revival tube thing, I knew something was going to happen with the tube and Mrs. Flood. Again, very obvious signposting.
Right.
Of where the plot's going to go, at least in part. Bucks Fizz, Making Your Mind Up. UK winner, 1981. Played over the revival montage. As whatever, fine. Good.
Is that the only UK winner ever? Is this kind of like the 1966 World Cup win? Is that England has to hold on to that one time they won?
UK's won
or the 1980 Olympics win by the Americans.
Half a dozen times overall, not since 1997. Katrina and the Waves.
Katrina and the Waves won Eurovision? They were still a thing? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was after Katrina moved to England. She's been there for decades.
Where was Katrina before that? Let's talk about Katrina and the Waves a little bit.
She's American.
Shut up.
She played Pinawa, place of my birth. I remember they mentioned that in a Much Music interview.
Partner Cat is named after her.
Wow.
That's
literally.
Cool.
Literally.
I thought that the Waves were certainly in the UK, right? Because that was a UK song. The video's in London, and they're running around.
I don't know how long she's been in London, but she's been there for decades.
That was both a huge hit and a CanCon staple.
It's not Canadian.
It doesn't matter. It was on Much Music all the time, which means it was a CanCon staple.
Okay. It's kind of like Chrissie Hynde in a way. Similar, Chrissie Hynde's American and her band's British. I can't remember. Anyway.
So Making Your Mind Up, UK winner 1981, played over the montage. And then Waterloo, 1974, Sweden, and Rise Like a Phoenix, 2014, Austria, which is a little more appropriate now that Austria won Eurovision last night.
I did not know what Rise Like a Phoenix was. I assume it was some Eurovision contest winner at some point.
Conchita Wurst, the drag queen.
Is that song? Okay.
Fully with cocktail dress and a full beard.
Yeah.
That was that's awesome. One time I was like, Eurovision, you're all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Conchita is amazing. Right. Anyway, those are the only actual Eurovision songs played or mentioned throughout. So, I mean, it's not like you need to inundate people with things. So a little bit of restraint there is good. Mavity. Cora doing the different song at the end is rather Fire Saga. Those who know.
Is that a video game reference?
No, Fire Saga is a Eurovision movie made by Will. And starring Will Ferrell.
I'm thinking of Fire Emblem, which is even more obscure.
At the end of Fire Saga, they do a different song and get disqualified from Eurovision because it's not the chosen song. Anyway, it just reminded me.
I'll
of
never
Fire
watch
Saga.
That, but anyway,
no, I never will.
How long ago was the Hellion genocide? If the fires are still burning, is this the Springfield tire fire?
It is very Springfield tire fire. That I mention it.
That's true. It just still burns. Man, how long do those
people are just
burn?
getting up, going, I see it's burning again.
Yeah, I never thought of that. Oh, you're poking the holes in this. This is great.
There's so many holes.
I know.
Well, like I said, just wait till next week. That's going to be Swiss cheese, baby.
Mm-hmm. Belinda's saying they're going to make a podcast about the missing nurse. Was that Conrad foreshadow?
I hope
Conrad,
not.
Reference to Conrad, who she barely even ever met.
Which is why he's going to be our producer for the podcast.
And he wasn't even a podcaster at that point.
That's true. Yeah, probably not. Probably not.
I'm just grasping at straws to be funny here. The Graham Norton hologram hitting the word unknown with force and echo and reverb. Like, come on.
I think that the doctor should have said, what happened to the Earth? Unknown. Have him respond to a thing. Like, why should that be part of it? I don't know.
Same with Mrs. Flood as she bigenerates. Like, I have to come up with a line like,
who's she talking to?
Or whatever it was.
I know.
Yeah. She's talking to Gary and Mike, I guess.
One thing I like about Graham Norton in Unleashed is he talks about how, I've screwed up Doctor Who a couple times. And he's like kind of tugging at his shirt about it. I was like, all right, Graham Norton, you seem all right.
I did like that. He appreciated that.
He didn't mention specifically the animated one, the greatest crime against Doctor Who ever made.
Yeah,
but
I know, on the SD feed only.
Yeah. I know the Graham Norton thing obviously done for effect, but it doesn't mean it's not silly. Mrs. Flood's double brainstem freezing causing her bigeneration presumably means she's the only one out of the 100,000 to quote die, but even though she doesn't, because she still lives because she bigenerates.
And also, this double brainstem, is that a new thing? Because it sounds pretty new.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that mean that Shooty and every other doctor has a double brainstem?
2 hearts, 2 brainstems. You see, that's how.
Because they were struggling within or something. Who knows? Actually, let me revise that.
It's lethal to a time lady, apparently.
Yeah.
Sure.
So obviously time lords are
sexist.
Are
totally sexist.
Yeah.
And gender essentialist.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I suppose we'll find out in time, but why does Mrs. Flood become this subservient, obsequious creature?
I mentioned that before. It's so great that we've had 2 bigenerations, mostly so that the older white person can hang around while the new, younger person of color can also be there.
I hadn't thought of that, but good point.
It's like, they can't be their own thing. We have to have the older person, but at least he's subservient. But can't.
And also, obviously, of course, Ronnie rearranged letters. You get rain. What causes floods? Rain.
I was thinking what the rearrangement of flood would be. It'd be like gloof. Or Duluth, I guess.
She's still Mrs. Flood. That's a thing for some reason.
But she's called Mrs. Flood.
Don't look too hard at it.
But is she Mrs. Flood?
We're going to find out next week.
Again, this whole here's the Vindicator readings, Mom, and all the. Right. The definite article, so to speak, says the Ronnie. Callback, obviously, to a robot and 5 doctors.
And and hence, whatchamacallit, think tank.
It's important to drop in lines to, again, no one in particular.
Yeah.
Only dorks like us who don't appreciate them, but should be the ones who appreciate them.
Member berries. ATST. ATST. Love recognizing things. I watch Doctor Who to recognize things. That's why I do. I love it.
Okay, we did just do that with the Daleks Master Plan guy, to be fair. So
I'm drawing my own conclusions though, because Warren, they didn't make mention of it. That's why I get to draw that line together.
Okay, fair enough.
As opposed to being hit over the head with it. Yeah.
This is from the chat. Is Mrs. Flood Ronnie Barker or Ronnie Corbett?
I've already seen T-shirts that have the 2 Ronnies logo and it says the 2 Ronnies RINIS, which is pretty great. And I seriously consider getting that T-shirt, but that's so obscure.
The 2 Ronnie.
That'd be a good galley T-shirt though.
Apparently Moffat established the 2 brainstems thing.
Oh, did he? Okay.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
But believe me, I'm going back to watch the Moffat era again in a couple of weeks. Just because.
Oh yeah. That's for sure.
Remember the Moffat era? The Moffat era? God,
beloved.
No. What do I got here? The last thing I have in my notes is the Ronnie gets it created by Pip and Jane Baker credit.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if the Ronnie was brought back during Chibnall's era? What kind of reaction? The 18 fans out there who would know enough about his, being 16 years old and ragging on Pip and Jane. But.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair to him, he didn't go out of his way to bring old stuff back, with a few notable exceptions.
Is Benjamin Cook going to do a 75-minute cut-down version of Time of the Ronnie for the iPlayer now? It should be just like he did for Pyramids of Mars when Sutek came back. I'm just wondering. You know, where do you find 20 minutes to trim out of Time of the Rani? I don't know where that
don't
is.
you?
Where don't you?
To defend Time of the Rani, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say.
Whoa.
I do, after we did the thing with WhoFX about the special effects, I do have a new tangential appreciation for all that. He was right about that. The effects are amazing for the time. The rest of it sucks, but that is amazing.
Great 35 millimeter model footage shot by Mike Tucker in that. Yeah. Which is not the same. Actually, no, it looks pretty good. Visually, I thought the whole episode once again looked great in Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah, it does look nice. Yeah.
So earlier on in the chat, Neil said, "Get off the fence, Chris." I'm getting off the fence, Neil. I didn't like this.
Yeah, I didn't like it. We've come
far and away the least.
And I didn't mind it. I don't know what's happening. The world's gone topsy-turvy.
Wow.
I wasn't even wearing this shirt, which possesses me.
Would you say nul point? Is that a thing we say, Chris?
No, I don't know what that means, and nobody explained it to me because I don't care.
It means 0 points in French.
0 points in French.
And I can speak French, but that's the depths of my Eurovision disdain. I don't care. I'll actively forget French, amongst other things.
It's basically
names,
just become a catchphrase for doing poorly, and if you do well, you get 12 points.
I only know, Warren, I only know nul point is because Eccleston said it in Parting of the Ways.
Oh, okay.
And someone explained it to me that at the time.
And everything goes through a Doctor Who filter with you,
that's all I know.
Which is actively working against you with this season.
That's all
I know. I keep pointing out my window. It's got nothing to do with anything.
I don't know. It's that's where you yell at everything, Warren.
Yeah, that's true. Well, there are so many clouds out there to yell at. Come on.
Exactly.
I do like what Ian McCann said in the chat. I hope Mel cosplays the Rani this time. I would love to see that. That would be great. That would be awesome.
It's going to happen because it's a reference.
I know, but it would be really funny.
Just please not in black
in that
face,
outfit.
Not in brown face, please.
No, but she shows up. Oh God, I hadn't even thought about that. But she does show up in the Mel outfit. It's just to taunt her.
Is that it? I forgot to hit play on this episode, so it's still playing in front of me.
Oh, it would have been.
We're like 90 minutes into this episode, and we've talked.
Well, no, we're about 80, but whatever the amount of time we're into this is. I don't think I expected to like it a lot,
right?
But I think I dislike it for completely different reasons than
And I'm the exact same. I
didn't
didn't expect to like it at all, and I didn't mind it for a bunch of different reasons. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
One of the tough parts is never ever really knowing how much of this is Juno Dawson, how much of this is RTD, or others, because obviously there's any number of execs who can put notes in.
Well, I guarantee that Ronnie stuff's RTD. Yeah.
But for the sake of going with the credit, if we put this all on Juno Dawson's shoulders, I don't know if I want her. I don't know if I want to see more from her. I did not listen to Redacted, so I heard don't know.
I listened to a bit. I heard
it
was really good. Yeah.
I don't know if I want.
She's
less,
written books. Written lots of books.
She's written books. I don't know if I want less from her in Doctor Who, or if I want more from her as a chance for redemption,
or to see other stuff that she's done.
Yeah,
or is going to do.
Yeah, it's nothing I'm ever gonna.
Yeah, all right.
It's like convincing Steven to listen to rap music or something. You know, it's just not.
Why? What? Why wouldn't I listen to
I'm seeing the Wu-Tang in a month. So
yeah,
I'll point at that window because that's where it's going to be.
I don't want to listen to Eurovision. That's what I don't want to.
No, I'm never going to do that. This is not convinced. This is not made me a Eurovision enjoyer. The T-shirt may belie that, but I'm not a Eurovision enjoyer. I never will be.
Yeah,
and it's mostly due to you, the fans, because you guys won't shut up about
blaming you.
I'm trying not to talk about certain aspects of Eurovision this year, but there's one certain aspect. That's
it's going to come up.
Not unlike Doctor Who. Let's just say the fans ruin it for everybody else.
Oh,
not unlike most. I just don't follow other franchises, but Last of Us is a perfect example. Video game fanatics won't shut up about this game, which is why I haven't watched the show, because I played the game. I'm like, this is fine, but it's not the end of the world like these guys say it is.
Did the fans ruin Eurovision in a similar way that Ncuti Gatwa dropped out of being the UK spokesperson?
Or two separate issues?
Is that related, Chris, or is that
no?
Okay.
Well, actually, kind of yes.
And we don't actually know that he dropped out for the reason we're hinting at, which is that there's a backlash against Israel for probably particular reasons.
It's all down to Israel's participation in Eurovision, which is a divisive topic, shall we say?
So
Ncuti Gatwa, as we talked about last week, was meant to read out the UK jury points, and Sophie Ellis-Bextor jumped in when Ncuti said, The BBC said whatever they said. The links in the show notes. But yeah, the supposition is that, especially down to the timing of things, like Israel was announced as getting through to the final from their semifinal, which they won. They just blew away the other countries with their score for their semifinal. But yeah, within minutes apparently of Israel qualifying for the final, Gatwa stepped down.
Yeah,
and people are figuring it's because he's been on the record. He's been very pro-Palestine.
Very much. Well,
I never thought I'd be the voice of.
I know, Oren. I know.
Optimism here.
Optimism
is a bit of a stretch, but yeah,
we're bracing. We're bracing for impact for the next couple episodes. Let me tell you, because we don't know what's coming, but we know what's coming.
And people, I see people in the chat saying, "You guys aren't optimistic like you used to be." If you go back to RTD1 or you go back to any of the other eras, we were just as critical in those that there was less to be critical of, and there was less repetition because it was new. So.
That's true. I mean, and you know what? Like a lot of the times this week, I've been going. Okay, what? A lot of people seem to say, "Yep, another winner. This is my favorite season of Doctor Who since." You know what?
I hope they're happy.
That's fantastic. I don't want to yuck anyone's yum.
Yeah, exactly.
But I
know.
But I'm not gonna lie. Like if I didn't, like something, I'm not gonna say I did.
At the end of the day, I mean, nobody needs to explain why they liked or disliked something, but you get this visceral reaction and you go with it. You're okay, fine. I'm not you. You're not me.
Also, we wouldn't do more than 1,000 of these stupid things if we didn't love this show.
That's true. In
general.
Even though I am looking forward to the Savages coming on a Blu-ray here next week.
Mine's coming on Thursday, so
like Amazon. I'm tearing the cover off of that and watching a 90-minute documentary about a show that no longer exists.
Who cares?
And it's like I cannot wait to watch that documentary. And I'll be looking forward to that more than I'm looking forward to seeing Wish.
Also, surprise, we're all old and we are set in our ways.
Maybe. I was
to a point. I think we're all
I think we're more flexible than some. But
I was talking it over with
that's going to creep in.
I was talking over with Erica yesterday about how this is the first time in however many years I've been watching the show that I've felt this far away from liking a Doctor Who era in the entire history of the show. I love everything. You know that. I'm the most positive
of course.
person.
You'll find ways to love it.
And right now, I'm not.
Let's not forget that the greater world is going to hell in a handbasket. So some of that leaks into people's overall look at things too.
Maybe it's not mine. Not mine, honestly.
Well, I envy your ability to ignore the world. Then
I mean, Chris, oddly enough, you went through Whittaker again and sort of went like that and again. And I'm wondering if I go through and watch RTD2 Who. Again, at a time when other great shows aren't on and NHL playoffs aren't happening, and will I view it? I don't know.
The initial run is always like that. Like with all this stuff, even with Moffat stuff, there was a few where we're like, okay, really, and then it came back with a banger. Like, and RTD might do that next week for all I know. Like,
everything is going to have ups and downs. Not everything is to everyone's liking. That's fine. It's a wide audience. But at the end of the day,
anything else? There's other news to talk about if you want, but what do you got?
There's. I was just gonna say, rewatching Gatwa's first season before, just before season 2 debuted, that went up in my estimation somewhat. But I think number one, a little bit of distance is not a bad thing. Being able to just to sit down and watch it and enjoy it without having to worry about, having to fuel a discussion after the fact or whatever. I think that's helpful. Not to mention that, I'm not the person I was when Whittaker first was on the screen. So of course I'm going to have different assessments, 3 to 5 years later.
2 examples for me. 42 and Unicorn of the Wasp. I really disliked Unicorn of the Wasp the first time I saw it, amongst everything else. I saw it again, I'm like, it's fine. I don't know what the hell I was complaining about. And at 42, we all built it up to be something it wasn't. It was actually just a standard, decent adventure. It was fine.
Sure.
Like,
I was told in real time. That wasn't real time, and it still irks me to this day.
Well, okay, so Chris is the outlier on this, but I'm just saying, stuff I see 5, 6, 7 years later, I'm like, actually it wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Right.
Or sometimes I'll see stuff and I'm like, that wasn't ever near as good as I thought it was either.
There we go. From the live stream chat from Tent Ringer. You guys need to channel your inner Dugadoo.
I don't know what that means, but you're probably right.
That's got to come out, right? They got to put out a full video of that, please.
I don't need to hear that.
We're
going to hear that at Galley. Oh my God, there's going to be so much of that at Galley.
Release it. Listen, in 2036, when the when the RTD2 era soundtrack finally comes out, I want to hear Dugadoo on that.
Speaking of Galley, I just want to do a shout out to friend of the show, Riley Silverman, who said that she's going to cosplay as Mrs. Flood so she can just follow Rannies around. I think that's a brilliant idea. Absolutely brilliant. And I encourage it.
Yeah. Is that it? Talk about other things that happened in this week at Doctor Who and then get the hell out of here since we've been going on for long enough in this podcast. Yeah, anything from you two? Any more rants and raves? Go on.
Yeah, as far as the bi-generation stuff goes, I liked the so from the behind the scenes aspects, like the director talking about how the way they did the bi-generation was to watch the bi-generation from the giggle. Watch the Unleashed.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool, actually.
And basically just replicated the steps and including the little the thing that holds people stable up to the waist, so only their torso can move.
Right.
And the division of the clothing, and so I mean, sure, okay, this is this new thing. It is what it is, but at least we've got consistency. Darn it.
We're never going to get another singular regeneration again for the rest of the RTD2 era.
Well, that might be 2 more episodes.
Except in 2 weeks, maybe, if rumors are...
Well, when they eventually have to go back to multicam video, which we have foretold, they will do bi-generation, but it'll just be a strict dissolve, or they'll bring back the Watcher. In fact, the Watcher is a bi-generation.
Watcher's coming back in Wishworld. Yeah. Everything happens in Wishworld. Whatever you want to happen.
The Watcher is a sandbagger somehow.
But
yeah, let's put a bow on this.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So a rainbow bow to fit the theme.
So one thumbs up and 2 thumbs down.
It's more of a thumb middle.
Yeah,
like it's a thumb slightly up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's kind of a dog that's like, oh.
Well, hey, even though Doctor Who is ending May 31st, at least the season is. But there's a new special edition of Doctor Who Unleashed coming in June sometime, celebrating the 20 years since the revival of Doctor Who. So that's coming up. It'll feature Ncuti Gatwa and Verda Sethu as seen at the premiere. That's where that one photo was taken.
Sorry, I'm a little hypnotized. Awesome. Go back to that picture.
We're also looking at David Tennant and Billie Piper reunited at last. That was half of Billie Piper's life ago. Was when she came on Doctor Who.
And he's wearing a 19 to indicate he's going to be the 19th Doctor.
Oh, that's it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
In 2055.
So that's coming in June, presumably on the YouTube page as well, and not just hidden somewhere on BBC iPlayer or something like that. But so that's happening. That's always fun and exciting, isn't it? What else we got here? We've jumped around and looking at our news list in the show notes. So there's a Film is Fabulous event this past weekend where Tim Burrows from the Doctor Who Missing Episodes podcast, which itself has been missing recently, Tim. Get back on it. I want to hear more episodes. But he talked to Sue Malden, where she reaffirmed basically what Paul Vanessa said on this very podcast some 6 years ago now, that episodes exist in the hands of private collectors. And that they are being well taken care of, quote unquote.
That sounds a bit like when somebody gets renditioned and they're being well taken care of.
But like that film.
So are there missing episodes in El Salvador then?
Anyway,
your silence speaks volumes.
Political joke.
I know.
Didn't land.
Yeah, political joke. Yeah, fun times down in the old US of A. Film is Fabulous event was amazing. They showed a few, because they've discovered a lot of missing television. Not Doctor Who, but you never know. A lot of missing.
That one weather broadcast from 1963 was. How did we live without it?
I know, right?
Excuse me. That's a very valid point. How did we live without it?
There's a lot of stuff that they've actually found from private collections.
As somebody with a history degree, I like it when they find stuff like this. Obscure stuff is important.
It's history. Damn it.
Exactly.
And so they've been doing great stuff. And there's at least 2. There's at least 2 in the hands of private collectors. Hopefully those people will I'm sure they do the right thing when the time comes and hand them over. But yeah,
well, they all talk about amnesty and this and that. From the BBC has never done anything to punish anybody who's returned an episode.
Not according to fan forums.
Yeah. So
I mean, think of the care and whatnot that went into what Putz had brought back from Nigeria. I don't want to say. Okay. I don't want to say.
No. Fair enough.
But like, yeah, they got the film cans and just went straight to like restoration, and there's no negative.
Oh, that's just no. It's like people on social media tend to build themselves up into a lather of their own making. That sounds like that, basically.
Yeah,
and that's not just social media. That's way back in the day too.
Mm-hmm. But think of it,
maybe it's been done. Maybe it's been done for non-Doctor Who stuff that's been returned to archives. I don't know.
We're gonna have more missing episodes returned. That's maybe only a couple, maybe 3 or 4. Who knows? There's at least 2.
But they wouldn't be so insistent if they didn't have something to back it up. I don't think.
Well, I mean, there are 2. I don't know which 2. I have an inkling that they're probably not the ones we are hoping for.
Like Marco Polo.
There's probably not a Marco Polo in there. There's probably not anything from Power of the Daleks in there, but I bet you there's probably a couple of random episodes that are for some reason on a film can in somebody's
Can you imagine if the restoration was them making it in color? Like they just never released the black and white version. They just put out a cut down in color version. Here you go.
Yeah.
That's the lack of amnesty.
What else? Oh, yeah, there's some other stuff. So there's a big thing in the Mirror. Nicola Methven put out an article, which is, let's face it, mostly based on stuff that's out there in the public eye. Because RTD has even said, if Disney doesn't come through, that we have plans. This is our job. We come up with the plans and everything like this. I'm waving my arms in the air like he does, kind of. Anyway, it reported that the next 2 series have already been written. RTD has hinted that there are... he's got ideas and stuff. I know for a fact that a writing duo, an experienced writer, I'm not going to name names because I don't know the names, but I do know that an experienced writer and their writing partner months ago have already had the first episode of season 3 written, ready to go.
Okay.
It's been there. I think season 3 was probably all ready to go, probably close during production of season 2, so that doesn't surprise me.
One thing about RTD that I've maintained all the time is he's a hell of a producer. Like he knows the stuff.
Right.
He's very good. He's very good at that job. So Disney's participation or not, he knows he needs to, get the ball rolling on things, no matter whose name is, who's producing it.
Working around, whatever. There's just another problem to work around. And honestly, my gut says Disney's out because, they're just scaling everything back anyway.
Yeah. Is it in this article? So one of the aspects that people are talking, it is in here. The BBC broadcasts its high definition shows in 2K picture quality, but Disney needs a 4K image for its streaming service, and the additional effects work costs a significant amount. So people are putting a lot of weight into that and saying, well, okay, why not just produce it in 2K? Well, they're not going to.
Yeah, it's shot. It's always been since at least Whitaker. It's been shot in 4K.
4K. It can be shot in 4K or 8K. I mean, there's nothing saying they couldn't downsize it, downsample, whatever.
They will
bring it down to 1080p or something if they absolutely had to do so. But I don't even see that happening because
the assertion that 4K effects are more expensive is true, though.
Yeah. It's absolutely true. 4 times the number of pixels to work with versus 1080p, but it's still something that, if you want to sell it, markets are going to make that same demand, whether it's Disney or whoever.
And it's fair of Disney to ask, or not ask, say, because that's what their platform is.
At the end of the day, that is just where TV production is at right now.
Now, having said that, Made in Canada, which is in glorious 4:3 SD, is sitting right there on Disney Plus, confusing the hell out of me. So they'll show stuff that isn't that.
That's true. And, old Simpsons and other things. And
that too, yeah.
Other shows.
And they had a backlash because they widened them and everybody's like, no, you put that back to the original aspect ratio.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that they have plans. I mean, the set is still there. Jane Tranter posted on her Instagram just this past week that she welcomed some executive or someone from some other government or something into the Bad Wolf Studios, and they had a shot of them at the TARDIS set. TARDIS set's still standing in Bad Wolf Studios.
The Pope came to Bad Wolf. It was his first trip.
The one standing set in Doctor Who is still fully standing and lit and everything else. So, like, It's. I mean, let's not write the obituary yet for this era of Doctor Who. We'll do that in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, we're Doctor Who fans, so we do that. But
there's a time and a place, especially when we're almost 2 hours into this podcast. But yeah, I am cautiously optimistic that Doctor Who will continue. In some form or another, not to directly quote Jane Tranter from that one BBC radio thing, but actually on TV and not just a Big Finish or a webcomic or something like that. But
will it get a thing at the credits that says Doctor Who will continue, just like Marvel stuff? Yeah,
yeah. But we'll talk about that in a couple weeks' time at the absolute earliest. There's also a interview on Deadline with Jane Tranter about U.S. co-productions, because there's a new the other Bennett sisters, the new series that Bad Wolf and BritBox have put together, and she's talking all about co-pros, about how there's a U.S. co-pro slump right now because of spending, tariffs. Let's face it, it's kind of like a lot of spending from U.S. productions is kind of like drying up a little bit. So finding co-productions when it comes to producing partners is a little difficult. BritBox has sort of stepped up for this. It's but it is just sort of a thing about Jane. An Austen era sort of costume drama. It's not quite the big budget spectacular that Doctor Who is purported to be, but
that's not the kind of stuff that hits on BritBox anyway. So
no, and I don't think that BritBox, as great as it is, would necessarily be a reliable home for a worldwide hit like Doctor Who is. I'm just thinking of things that, if Disney isn't a thing, where a future international home for Doctor Who would be.
The newly reminted HBO Max.
That's true. HBO is back, baby.
In POG form.
Mm-hmm.
So number one, I was going to ask, do we need a streaming partner for Doctor Who with the BBC? I think the answer has to be yes.
I think we have to. Yeah, it has to be. Has to be.
CBC Gem,
not streaming necessarily, but partnership in general.
Yeah.
Whether it's cost sharing or distribution, whatever. Oh, crap! There's the second part I was going to say now.
It's okay.
Slipped my mind.
That's totally fine.
That's what it was. So let's say, for example, BBC Studios, Bad Wolf, whoever. Let's say they don't partner with a streamer. They don't partner with Max. They don't partner with Netflix. They don't partner with Amazon Prime Video. Okay. Whatever. How willing are other countries going to be to pick up that slack again now that it's been taken away? So I think of Australia. Lots of Aussies were really pissed off at Disney Plus getting exclusive broadcast.
Right.
Or even in Canada, we saw what Crave did to Doctor Who. Crave did Doctor Who dirty.
Oh yeah.
Where are these regional distribution things? Are they going to materialize if Doctor Who isn't partnered with Netflix, Paramount Plus, something?
Yeah, I don't know. It's it's like broadcasters aren't a thing anymore. It's not like you're going to broadcasters. You're not going to BBC America or. And
just to shove this in the chat, Steve Manfred says, whatever streaming partner it is, I hope they get the entire Whoniverse on once it's available later this year. Yeah, so one thing I've seen several times in recent months, or especially recent weeks, is ads on like Facebook or whatever from Disney Plus. For Doctor Who, saying, revisit the classics or whatever phrase you're using. It's like, you have 15 episodes. Like, what am I?
Specials?
That's including them. What am I revisiting on Disney Plus? Like these ads are insane.
Take a look back to 2023, late 2023.
Is it specifically saying Doctor Who revisit the classics, or is it talking about old animated crap from the 30s?
No, it's specifically Doctor Who.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't think I'm getting overly nostalgic for the giggle, but maybe I'm wrong.
You may change your tune in a couple weeks' time.
Yeah.
Remember when things made sense? The giggle?
The giggle, those days. The first by generation.
Before they cheapened by generation.
Yeah.
Which that's not true.
Time to get the CBC involved with Doctor Who again, maybe.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
Yeah, we'll talk about stuff. We'll talk about that. This has gone on long enough. The podcast, not the show.
That's our title for the final.
This has gone on long enough.
And as one last point on all this, as has been talked about in the past, I mean, anything we do get, we are definitely going to be facing a gap of
for sure, no matter what.
18 months, 24 months plus.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this will be I don't know what we'll do, but we'll do something, don't worry. It's our 20th anniversary as a podcast next year, so
plenty of classic episodes haven't been sullied by our presence, so
might be the first year where there's no Doctor Who at all, including a Christmas special. Maybe there'll be a Christmas special in 2026, who knows, but maybe they can cobble that together. Anyway, we'll have thoughts and ideas later on. Done of that. One last thing. There's a Kickstarter for... who is this Kickstarter for, Chris? You put this in the show notes. You probably know more about it. Cutaway Comics is doing a thing called the Happiness Patrol, Unhappily Ever After. It's the comic with... Honestly, comics is where the Happiness Patrol comes alive.
I like this Candyman better, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the Candyman that we're showing in the live stream here.
I don't like him, but I like him better.
With Ace with the hot poker, which will cut through him like a hot knife through butterscotch. Anyway, there's a Kickstarter for their newest thing. It's already been reached with 16 days to go. There's already enough to go for it, but you can help support the project. Links be in the show notes at radiofreescaro.com or on your listening device. So that's it for this very long episode of Doctor Who : Radio Free Skaro. Next week,
for Wish World,
we
didn't talk about earlier.
What?
No next time.
Yeah, no trailer.
No next time trailer.
Nothing on YouTube. Nothing at the end of Interstellar. No.
I mean,
nothing.
I think it kind of works given the whole Ronnie thing and Susan. Like, you don't need to throw even more at you. Like, maybe it might show up in a couple of days, and that's fine if it does, or it doesn't, for that matter.
Or a little teaser here and there. Yeah. But suffice to say,
I suspect we'll get something probably midweek.
There is a little bit in Unleashed, like their little 2-second spoiler thing.
Yeah, whatever thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's not a next time.
No, but it is something.
Yeah.
Our usual live stream is going to be delayed because Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Western Conference Finals between the Dallas Stars and your Edmonton Oilers is happening that afternoon. So I will be at that game. So our live stream is going to be later, much later, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. ET. That is 1 a.m. in the UK. 8 a.m. in Sydney, do we factor in? Is that what it is?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Oh, that's great. You got nothing to complain about, Sydney. You finally got a time for you. So,
well, that's just it. Most of the time we pick is going to screw over either the UK/Europe or Australia.
That's true. That is
By the
true.
way, I saw a balut earlier that had this picture here of Mrs. Flood, aka Ronnie, and the Ronnie looking, and it said, we saw your vibe from across the bar, and it was effing dreadful, actually.
Yeah.
Which I think is quite funny.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Okay.
If let's say that happened, Warren.
Yeah.
Just for the sake.
I don't like where this is going at all.
No, I don't.
So let's say this person I see across the vibe. Let's say they go and they do stuff.
Okay.
Does that person's body count increase by 1 or 2?
I said I didn't like this, and I still don't like it. How about you're just being... I'm going to Doctor Who redact you and that comment. Thank you, Juno Dawson, for letting me use your title.
I'm happy to leave that dangling over the.
I'm sure you are.
End of the episode.
No, we are not.
Anyway, is that it?
Also, just lastly, the
2 hours.
Chat going crazy about was it Canbox? I think it was the suggested name of streaming service for old Canadian TV.
I'm all for Canbox. That'd be great.
Talk about Edison twins.
Hell yeah! I mean, that's kind of what CBC Gem is. You can use a VPN to get into it, people, and it's free.
That's right.
I've watched Canadian news from America using a VPN and CBC Gem, which I do pay for, so $5 a month.
Anyway. That's enough. So we covered this episode. We didn't like it for the most part. And next week, well, we'll see. Wish World.
Let's hope for better.
Let's hope for better, kids. Yeah.
We don't like having to be
really
negative.
don't.
No, we don't.
I don't hate watch Doctor Who.
It is still a compulsion. I mean, our point here is to
I just don't want to. I'm not going to lie, no matter what it is.
I'm not going to say I didn't have fun watching it, because I did. It is a bit of a romp. It is a bit campy.
I was surprised I didn't hate it.
So if we can end this on a bit of a positive note, there are some elements that were enjoyable. Performances top of my list, especially.
Good stuff.
A good time was had by all.
Until you didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
On that note, in the meantime, and in between time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Or in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.